pictorial of what he told you, and then go about how we're at 11 mills now. You take 5 away, so we're getting equalization at 6, or actually 6.4. If we increase by 3.5 mills, we will actually pick up in next year $1,092,000 from state money if we go up and the state wants to reward us for doing more of our fair share. Fund balance, this is the amount of cash after all bills are paid that we have available for maintenance and operation of the school system. I want to give you a 3-year picture of that. July 1, 2007, we had $2 million in reserve. In July 1, 2008, still there, up a few dollars. Where we are now, beginning of this year, we have dropped, you see, $700,000. Without a local tax increase that we're proposing, our fund balance based on our budget, even though we reduced it $2.6 million, we're going to have a negative fund balance of $613,000. Well, legally we can't do that. You know that. Practically we can't do that. With a projected millage increase, our fund balance, however, would be $865, still half of where we are now. But the purpose of a fund balance is to help you out in tough times. We're not a bank. We don't want to have a bank account, but we do want to be able to support the education in a rainy day situation. That's really our bottom line here today, is what can we do. I'll tell you what's going to happen here. The reserve is also in part, but we don't start receiving local property tax revenue until November, is that right, Danny? January maybe. We're going to, for the first time in how many years, we're going to have to borrow money, maybe as early as October, certainly before Thanksgiving, to meet payroll and other expenses in Emanuel County. Borrowing money will cost us interest. Without a reserve there, you have to borrow more money until tax revenue comes in. Here's the thing about it. All our projections are assuming 100%, by the way, of tax revenue. If it doesn't come in, all these numbers worsen for us. So this is
Can I speak to that for 1 second?
Yes.
If you're, just to talk about fund balance for 1 second, if you're in the community, as I was when I started this job, $865,000 seems like a huge fund balance. Why are we raising your taxes so we can put $865,000 in the bank? Our budget is $40 million. According to state guidelines, to be considered fiscally responsible, we need to have a fund balance of 5 to 10%. So we need $2 to $4 million in the bank just to be considered responsible that we're doing what I'm hired to do, is to keep that money in the bank in case something came up. The other eye-opener is our payroll runs between $2.8 and $3 million per month. So $868,000 really is nothing when you're talking about an emergency coming up. That could be 1 month, 2 months worth of bills coming up without payroll even factored in.
He wouldn't pay a half a month's of payroll.
Right, no. So just kind of speak to that.
Thank you. This is a more detailed description of how we came up with that fund balance, taking cash reserve from July 108 and all the different numbers. Then this kind of bring it all together. Our revenue is dropping. It appears it will continue to drop. But after, as I spoke a minute ago, after we've made salary and other commitments in the budget year, our fund reserve is projected with this tax increase to be $865. You know, I put 2 to 2.5. That's the minimum. Abby's more correct, and going a little higher than that. We don't have enough reserve. We just mentioned to even meet a half a month's of payroll should times continue as they are. And we're going to have to borrow money this fall regardless, even with the tax increase, because those receipts won't come in. We've made significant cuts, and we most recently had to resort, unfortunately, to the elimination of positions. Since 19 of our budget related to personnel costs, salary and benefits, we won't be able to absorb additional cuts without elimination or riffing of other positions to include certified positions. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but here's the thing. I think it's more of a question of when the next cuts come in and how much it's going to be, as opposed to whether we're going to have another cut. That's just a guess on my part, but it's a lot of people guessing that. We don't want to get there, but if we do, I want you to know we don't have anywhere else to go except in the area of personnel.
Dr. Kraft, could you explain RIF? Some people might not know what RIF is.
Yes, Dal. RIF, reduction in force. It's when you start talking about certified teachers and they receive a contract, there is a legal way to end a contract through a reduction in force when funds are no longer available. But I'll tell you, that's going, besides the impact to our community, it's probably going to mean we have to hire a bunch of lawyers because there'll be hearings, Georgia fair dismissal hearings on all of that. Again, I'm not saying we're going there. We're going to avoid it to the nth degree. But if we have further significant cuts, we don't have anywhere else to go in Emanuel County.
One more, not to make this a discussion of RIF, but I know there's a lot of misunderstanding about an actual reduction in force policy. Emanuel County had the leeway to come up with their own policy, so it's not necessarily that the first hired is the last to go, or the last hired is the first to go. Our roof policy does not read that. Our roof policy states that the least affected will be the people that we would actually look at in reducing. And we don't want to go there, but I just want to kind of clear that up, that it's not necessarily the last hired.
That's exactly right. It is based on evaluations of job performance, which it should be. I know this board wants to increase taxes. We are really literally at a point of nowhere else to turn. Mr. Eason made a good point a minute ago. We are simply replacing lost state revenue on the backs of the homeowners, property owners of Emanuel County. And I think that next paragraph I've already discussed.
I'd like a couple other just short comments. I would say, based on this budget, if we do not increase taxes some, we will most likely have a reduction in force. I mean, I think that would be very fair to say, given the budget and the situation it is. If we do not increase millage at some, that we will have a reduction in force. Because we have to balance our budget. We do have to balance the budget. Second thing, from a property owner standpoint, I pay taxes also. I pay taxes in Johnson and Emanuel County and Burke County. Burke County has a 40+% fund equity balance for their school system. Burke County, ours is 8.28%, and it's really not that. That was projected at the end of FY09. Burke County's was again 40.37%.
What's the state average?
And the state average is, I think it's 40-something%. It's 41.5%. So I mean, we don't have an area to fund that with balance we probably should have had, and we don't have because we kept the millage rate low over the past several years. Other statement I'm going to say, I pay property taxes in Johnson and Emanuel County. I feel like I do get services out of Emanuel County, both from both sides. About the only thing I get out of Johnson County is I throw a bag of trash in the back of my pickup every once in a while, and I go to church in Johnson County most of the time, and there's a dumpster across the road from there, and I throw a bag of trash in there. That's kind of the feeling I get. I've also said in the past, sometimes if you call Johnson County Sheriff's Department and said there's been a shooting, they said, well, did anybody die? If anybody didn't die, they probably wouldn't say, we'll send somebody down there to investigate later. Anybody in Emanuel County from EMS to, I think, has responded. I felt like we've got valuable services from them. I mean, that's my personal feeling as a taxpayer. So, but at this point in time, does any other board member have any comment they want to make before we open up the floor to questions? All right, at this time, I'll entertain